pretty simple. You want to win races, put KMCs on your truck.
3, 2, 1, get it! Here we go, the first two cars heading off the line right now. Now we have a barber coming to the finish line.
Over 25 years of off-road racing dominance. Proprietary patented race technology. Proudly made in the USA. Unparalleled customer service and support. The choice of champions. King Shocks. The leader in off-road shock technology.
Your locally owned Bill Alexander Ford has the vehicles you want. F-Series, Bronco, Expedition, Edge, Explorer, Escape, and Ranger. And try our mobile service for light maintenance. We will come to you. For a difference you can count on, visit us in person or go to BillAlexanderFord.com.
All right, welcome everybody. We are here for a brand new show with you guys today. This is the Legacy Baja Nevada race, and we have quite a panel joining us today. Our good buddy Cameron Steele is actually down in Baja, so he's not here to host today. So you guys are going to have to deal with me and these guys today. So Cameron, hope you're having fun down there riding your bike, and we'll see how we do without you. So first of all, we have Donald Jackson, the main man behind Legacy. Thanks, Donald, for joining us today. If his sound is on yet. I was just connecting to the audio. See, Cameron, what are you doing here? We're already having problems. Donald, you got us now?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing, buddy?
There we go. How's it going? Yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to do the show with you.
Right on, right on. All right. And then we have a couple legacy racers that we brought on with us today also. So we have Travis Chase over here to this side on my screen. How's it going, Travis? Thanks for joining us today.
Doing well, Fish. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Cool. And then we have Connor McMullen and Sierra Romo. So thank you guys for coming. Connor, what class are you racing this race in?
So this race, we're going to be racing the trophy truck with Brenthale Industries.
All right. So we'll talk about that a little more in a little bit. And then Sierra, we know you're a UTV racer. Which of the 1 million UTV classes are you racing this race?
I'll be racing my Pro R in the unlimited class.
Okay. And Donald, how many UTV classes do you have, just so we get this out of the way early?
Right now we have 5, unfortunately. We're looking at that number.
That's a good number. That's good. 5 is good.
Yeah, we're trying to keep the stock classes, somewhat stock, and then kind of open it up for the pro classes.
Right on. All right. Well, Donald, why don't you just fill everybody in? What is the Legacy Series? What is, it's a one of the newer series out there. Where did you come from, and how did you come up with the Legacy Series?
Yeah, so like you said, Legacy is kind of new. We've been in business for 3 years. This is our 3rd time running the Baja Nevada event. And so my history has been in the off-road racing business since 2004, putting on events and doing different things across the state of Nevada, Arizona, some in Utah. And with myself comes my wife, Christy. We got married in 06, so she kind of fell into it by default. And fell in love with it, just like everybody in our sport. Once you get that dirt in your veins, you can't get it out. And so she's been along with me right by our side. And then when we launched Legacy, Liz Marshall came on board as well. And so that's the 3 of us that kind of run the whole Legacy series.
Awesome. And then how many races are you guys doing this year? How many do you have in your series?
So we've done one so far. We had the race out in Pahrump, the Desert Showdown. Then Baja Nevada's coming up, within 3 weeks here. So it's coming up really quick. Following that, a little smaller event going back to Caliente, the one that was supposed to happen a few weeks ago, but with the weather, we had to postpone the VT Construction Battleground. So that'll be coming up there towards the end of June. And then we go to Utah in September for a UTV and bike quad race, which is a lot of fun, real tight technical tree type event. And then a new event for this year, Gold Rush in October out of Virginia City. Going to race that from Virginia City to Tonopah, like 350-mile race, race for all classes. So that one's going to be a lot of fun. Then we finish out the year in State Line at the at Prim there with the State Line Shootout. And that one's going to be kind of a different style event. It's going to be more like a triathlon. So there'll be 3 days of racing and different types of racing each day. And it's going to be pretty special. So the schedule's looking pretty good this year. We're pretty excited about it. And I hope the racers enjoy it as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I think people are always excited with something new out there. It's always just you show up the race. It's just you go do this on race day, the same thing over and over. So it's cool to see different things. I know, like, I'm personally a big fan of the multi-day events. It's super fun, having racing different days. And if you have a bad day one day, maybe you can have get it fixed at night, and then you can go have a good day the next day at least. You might not win the race, but at least you had a good second day or something. So I think it's cool having the multi-day events.
Yeah, and I think that's why we went back to the multi-day this year. 2 reasons. One, just like you pointed out, if you have a bad day, first 100 miles into a 650-mile race and you break down, you're kind of shot and there's no even use, getting back in the event or if you can't. So if you can get parts overnight and get back going, then you can come back and race day 2 and still have some fun and know your team's there and everything. And the other part to the 2-day is the camaraderie. Lots of times people are coming from all over the place to join the team and they don't get a chance to spend time together. So this way, in a selfish way, you are forcing you to spend time at night and camp, hang out, and then race again the next day. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of this race, let's go. I'm going to pull up the schedule of events here. So we have on Wednesday, I see here, May 10th, we have qualifying. So this is what classes? It looks like you have unlimited trucks, class 1, 6100 qualifying. Are those the 3 qualifying classes like it says here?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're going to stick with.
Okay. And what order do those go in? Do those go with the unlimited trucks first, or does it go to the reverse order?
So it's going to go random draw, but unlimited trucks and class 1 will go together. And then 6100s. Oh, wait, we just changed that. So I'm going to tell you, I just made a mistake. That's a random draw for all 3 classes. Okay. So all 3 is just going to go to a big pool. We're going to pull out the numbers, and however you draw is how you start qualifying. And then how you qualify based on time is how you start the race. So it's no longer separated by unlimited trucks and class 1 together and then 61s. It's all on how you finish on time, how those 3 classes will start the event.
Perfect. Yeah. So if a 6100 truck qualifies second overall, he's going to start second overall in the race.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. All right. And, Travis and Connor, both of you guys race in those classes. How do you guys feel? Do you guys like mixing it up like that in qualifying? What do you think, Travis?
No, I think it's a huge deal. We've been pushing for this since kind of Donald started this whole deal, and I think he's really listening to the racers, and that's one thing I love about Donald. The fact that we can get behind, let's say someone's having a bad day or there's a couple back markers or that you really are tough to get work around, or class 1s that can outpower you. If it's on a level playing field and your qualifying run is really good, you already have the advantage of starting in front of those guys. So for us as a spec truck, where we don't have the horsepower, but we have the capability, it really helps us out.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. What do you think, Connor? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And like Travis just said, Donald is super awesome with that. He's listening to us racers, and it gives a fair advantage of, if someone is going to go out and it's going to out qualify you, hey, he's faster, let him start out front. And if you're a racer, you're going to race through the dust, you're going to catch him, you're going to pass him, you're going to drive away from him. So I feel like it's a good opportunity to, show where the drivers are and, get the mix in there, get it, get the battle going, get just something different that hasn't been done in a while. I think it's good to have, it's fun to have, and it makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, that definitely. Yeah, I like it personally. I think it's the way to go too. If you can earn your qualifying spot, and if you're faster than the other guys, if they're in a different class, well, so what? You know, you're going to start in front of them because you're faster.
Right.
Sierra, what do you think? I know that UTVs aren't qualifying at this event. If they were qualifying, do you think it's worth qualifying starting that far back in the field where UTVs do, or would you rather just go with the random draw and not risk tearing your car up the day before the race? You know, when you're not going to be starting first off the line.
No, I think I'd prefer to qualify just because there is a lot of UTVs and you do have, the slower guys, the faster guys. And so even though we are in the back of the pack, I think it is valuable to still qualify to have a good start. I know we're not qualifying for this race, which alleviates, a big stress for us, which is good and bad, but I'm excited.
Right on. All right. Well, then, so looking at the schedule, we go from qualifying on Wednesday. We got Thursday, we have contingency. And then Friday is the first day of the race, right? Is that correct, Donald?
Yeah, correct. So Thursday, just like you said, the contingency, the tech powered by Liquid Moly, and then meetings and different things like that. Then, yeah, race day, first thing Friday morning, 5:30, bikes off the line, open up the road right as the sun comes up. They'll be taken off. Last year, we started the bikes in the dark, which worked out good because the one day we didn't have any bikes caught by the trucks. But with it being broken into 2 days, roughly 300 miles per day, we felt better to go back to a daylight start for them. So based on the daylight we have for that time of year, the bikes and quads won't have to run headlights for the entire event because they'll either make it to the finish line or they'll time out with the pit closing times before it gets started.
Okay, so that makes sense. So that's day one, and then on day two, which is Saturday, so you can work on your car after day one, right? There's no restrictions, there's no impound, there's nothing like that between the days, correct?
Correct. You're free to work on your race vehicle all night long, whatever you need to do to fix it, just as long as it's at the start line Saturday morning.
And if somebody DNFs on the first day, are they able to fix it and start the second day?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
That's the other advantage to the 2-day race, because like you just said, if you have a problem, something you can't fix, whether it be big or minor, whatever it is, you can get that car fixed and still come participate on Saturday and still have a good time.
Perfect. All right. And then after that, obviously we have the awards on Sunday, and then that kind of covers the schedule of events that we have. So why don't we, let me bring up the course map. Donald was nice enough to give us a preview of the course map here. And we're going to go over, just like we do on some of our other shows, we're going to start. Let's see if we bring it up here on Google Earth. Now, Donald's going to walk us through this. And any of you guys that are on the panel here, Travis, Connor, and Sierra, if you guys know anything that you want to say about any parts on this course, just chime in at any time. And we'll just go through the course and see what we got. So here it is. We're going to bring it up. And here is your course. Now, the start is going to be down here just north of Pahrump, right, Donald?
Yeah, correct. So if you race the first race of the year, the Desert Showdown, we're starting there at Johnny. So we'll start the bikes right from the start line. The cars and trucks will line up at the Pahrump Nugget, and then we'll police escort to the start line.
Okay, so they're actually going to escort up the highway here to the actual dirt start.
Yeah, correct. And I know that question will come up, so I'll answer it right now is yes, you can top off your race vehicle at the start line if you're in that police escort.
Perfect. Okay, so you'll be able to fill it up after you come up the highway. Before you start, you'll have a couple minutes when you get here. Your crew can get to the car and top it off.
That's correct.
All right, very good. All right, so then we go up, we're going north. Now, one thing I noticed is there is a lot of highway access on this, right? Like you're not allowed to come into the course. It is a closed course, correct?
Yeah, these events in the States are considered a non-chase event. So you can go to the pits, but there's no outside assistance allowed. So the only place you can work on the vehicle is the designated pit areas without getting permission from Legacy to do something different.
Okay, that definitely makes sense. So pit 1 is going to be right here just after mile 15. It looks like about mile 16. So that is pretty easy to get to that pit in there too. Just looks like a access road to go straight into that pit.
Yep, just 1 mile down the dirt road. The teams will need to leave if they're going to pit 1 before the race vehicle does, just because the logistics on the highway versus the distance on the race course to get there is a little challenging. So I would suggest you leave before the race vehicle takes off.
Okay, sounds good. So then we're coming out and we start heading to I guess this is the west, right? So we're going west. We go by this old mine in here. How's this going over this? Is this mountain range anything, or is it not as much as it looks right here?
It's pretty small, but it is pretty technical. There's a lot of big rocks in that area. So definitely a spot to test those BFG tires.
Couple blind rises in it as well.
Couple blind rises.
Yeah.
Yeah, super fast, high speed up to that, and yeah, it catches up to you pretty quick. So that stuff's all super fun through that section.
Perfect. Then this looks like you hop on basically a pretty is this like a graded road almost here at the mile 20 section, or it looks pretty straight?
It's a kind of a sunken road, but it's a sand wash basically. And I could compare it to like the old Thunder Alley back in the day. That is super fast, wide open, nothing dangerous, just as fast as you can go. And then when you make the turn there, that twisty wash, just a flat bottom wash all the way up to like mile 27, just really fun section right through there.
All right. Yeah, I know a lot of this course is a lot of fast and fun stuff is why a lot of people like doing this race, right? Like there's a lot of there's technical in there too, but it's definitely a lot of fun is the word that comes up a lot when you talk to people about this course, it seems like.
That's how we describe Baja Nevada different from other point-to-point long distance events. Is the difference is it's more technical and twisty versus just a straight runs lots of times. So don't get me wrong, this will be a fast route, but I think there's a lot more technical to it on the Baja Nevada type event.
You know, one thing you got to kind of worry about I mean, it's basically any course, but especially in Nevada, I mean, it's rocks on the outside. I mean, that's kind of where you get your flats, and that's based on past Baja Nevada races. That's what's going to get you.
Yeah. No, I know, Sierra, you're in a Pro R, right? I know that there was a Pro R up here at another competitor's race before that did really well. So I think you have a little bit of pressure on you to do good in that car. What do you think?
Just a little bit of pressure. I think we can definitely see some high speeds in that car, which I'm excited to get on the long straightaways and just let her eat. But I know at the Mint 400, we hit 105, which is huge for us UTV guys. So pretty excited.
Yeah, that's definitely cool. Those things are getting fast nowadays. So then you come down, you go down to the south past mile 30 here, and then you start making your way back over towards the 373 right here. And it looks like this is one of your highway crossings here, Donald?
Yeah, so from like 30 to 35 is going to get a little silty. So great spot for photographers that like that. And then when you get to that PRC one, that's a state highway. So we have to do a mandatory stop, 25-mile-an-hour zone leading into the crossing, and then across the crossing until you clear the crossing by about 100 yards, and then you hit the resume race speed.
Okay, and are the race cars stopping, or is the traffic being stopped?
So the race vehicles on any DOT crossing have to stop.
Okay.
It's part of our permit process. So traffic on the highways has right away.
Okay, perfect. So just so everybody knows, if you're waiting behind somebody, it's not them sitting there, it's them being told to wait.
That's correct.
All right. You know how racers are. They're like, what is this guy doing? Why is he sitting here? Let's go.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets frustrating.
Yeah. All right. So then you come up and you make a hard right out of this section and you start going back to the north. What's this next section like here?
38 to 45 has got a lot of cross grain to it. Several passing lanes. It's basically 2 lanes wide all the way up to 45. And as you get close to mile 45, it starts to get silty and whatnot. But at 45, you cross a county paved road, which is one that we don't have to stop at. That's why you don't see the PRC number on it.
Okay.
But it has a 10-foot ditch on the opposite side of the course on the north side of the crossing. And Connor has a lot of experience with that one in the 6100 where he blew up the hood.
What happened there, Connor?
Yeah, that was a couple of issues. Had no brakes going into that, and it just coming into it, it just caught me, and it kind of goes into one hole into the next on the highway, and it kicks you up real bad, and rip the whole bumper off. But yeah, there's a few of them out there. That one's the worst one, but yeah, some of those that you just have a ton of speed into, and it's kind of switchback, multiple line, don't really know it's coming, and right at the end of it, it's an approach, and it's super big, huge hole, and yeah, so if you're not careful through that section, it'll get you. So now when we pre-run, or even if we race it, I've got my marks down to know that's the oh crap spot, so I'm watching out for that.
There we go. So do not send it over the road crossing after race mile 45. Noted.
That one's a yard sale section for sure.
So maybe a good spot for a photographer to go, actually.
Yeah, they're all fitting there.
Yeah. All right. So then you keep coming up to the north. Now you're just running parallel with Highway 95, coming up to mile 50 or so. And then it looks like you make a really hard left here and you head back towards Ashton on the map here. What's this section like?
So fast power line reading into that hard left, and 55 into Ashton, multiple lanes for passing. It's a great spot there to get around somebody if you've had a tire or some issue that set you back and catch a slower vehicle. Then once you drop into the wash there at 57, all the way up to pit 2, just a lot of fun through that wash. You can really kind of hang it out, but the closer you get to the pit, you got to kind of back it down a little bit. It gets really rocky the last couple miles coming up to pit 2.
And we got a question from a viewer. Is pit 2 in the same place as it was before?
So yeah, it was pit 2 at the Desert Showdown as well. And it's where the little white Omni station is. That's the pit area.
Okay, perfect. Somebody said they hit a boulder there. They Brett Greenholtz says they hope he moved his boulder because it's really rocky there.
If not, Brett can stop in the race and move it for the trucks. He'll be starting out first.
Perfect. All right, there you go, Brett. All right, so then we go past pit 2, coming back north, going by the airport in Beatty. I didn't even know there was an airport there.
Yeah, just south of town there. This section hasn't been used in quite a few years because we've been other races have been starting north of Beatty and whatnot. So this is going back a few years where this section's been used. And again, it's pretty fast. Lots of lanes for passing. And then as you get just across the airport, you start up onto a power line and gets real twisty coming into PRC2, another paved road crossing you have to come to a stop at.
All right. Yeah. So that's where you get kind of, is it elevation change? You're going up little mountains here?
Yeah, it's got about 1,000-foot climb coming up over those little range right there.
Okay. So then you're over the road crossing there. It's a 374 right there. Then it goes a little bit, looks like it back and forth through here, a little bit more technical through this section, maybe?
Yeah. Yep. An old rail bed that we follow. So jumping on and off of it, twisting through the hills, coming up there by 75, opens up pretty quick from 75 up there to the top of the map. And right here about where your hand is, Fish, is a mountain range we want to talk about. We have to go up this mountain here.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, it's just to the left of your hand. It's called Windy Gap. So you're circling it right there. So a few years ago, you talked about Fred's Tractor Trail in Mexico. And this is the Beatty version of that. We're going to call it the Beatty Revenge. This thing is steep, got a lot of rain ruts coming down it. And we're going to actually take and position retrieval vehicles here for the race in case there's any issues. It's about a mile long up to this switchback. So we'll have 2 retrieval vehicles there. If anybody gets stopped, we're going to pull you up the mountain, make sure you get on your way. We're going to take times. Again, if you get stopped because of a competitor or because you're having issues, we're going to take times. We're going to give you a credit because this is the only way through the mountains around Beatty currently. We didn't have another option, otherwise we'd use it. So this is a challenging spot where we're going to do our best to give racers credit if they have some issues in that area.
Perfect. So everybody just take your time through here. And this is about mile, let's see, what mile were we at?
So 75. So it's about 78 to 79 right in there is your mile marker.
Okay, so 78, 79. Everybody just take your time, go slow. If you get stuck, there's going to be retrieval there. They're going to try and clear it out as soon as they can. If you're there for a long time, they're going to give time credits if applicable.
That's correct.
Perfect. All right. So then once you make it through there, then you come down to mile 80 and then you still head more north. This looks like it opens up a little bit through here, maybe.
Yeah, it does from 80 to that hard left where your hand is. Just real fast, a fun road to be on. Drops into a sand wash, kind of a little slot canyon sand wash for about a mile. And then this is where Sierra was talking about where she can let that Pro R breathe because it's fast as all get out from 83 all the way up to that little bend to the right at 85. All the way across the valley here is just an old 2-track. I think it was last used in the Frontier 500 and pops onto the Sacravatus Flats there at 87 where it gets silty. But again, there's 4 lanes across there, so shouldn't be an issue for most teams. There's a lot of room for passing and get out of the way.
All right. So yeah, there could be silty, but there's enough lanes. It's open enough. You can just make your own trail or go on the side of one that's not as bad as the other one, hopefully.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay. So then we come back and we're going to the north still, headed up to 95. This all looks pretty open still all through here. A little bit different terrain, but still pretty open, huh?
Yeah. Yep. Again, just letting the machines breathe. It's a fun section to air it out.
Perfect. Then you get to Bonnie Claire. A lot of people know where that town is. There's a lot of racing that goes through that town, huh?
Yeah, we have a little change there. Where Bonnie Claire is normally like where we started Baja Nevada last year, but we threw in some old mix. When we get to the lake bed, we cross a little different way and cross the highway a little bit to the east of where we would normally start and pick up an old pit area there at pit 3.
Okay, so that's the third pit right here, right off the side of the highway. Now, what do you think so far between getting from pit 1, 2, 3? How many chase trucks do you think most people need? Can you make it from one pit to the next, or is there one pit where you have to kind of skip? Anything like that?
It's highly recommended you have 2 chase trucks because 1, 2, 3, not too bad. You're going to be cutting it a little bit close. But once you get past 4, it's really hard to get to every pit with just one crew. Unless the race vehicle has a problem, you're not going to beat them. So you really need to plan for 2 crews, or reach out to one of our pit services that are going to be there for the event to catch those pits that you cannot make it to.
And whose pit services are there for this one?
So you got Trophy Light is going to offer one. They've been with us since day one of Baja, Nevada. And also Chad Dorman, the DFR Racing Services is the other service you can use. And those links are right there on our website if you need them. Log on to legacyracing.net, find the link there, and get those guys contacted and get signed up for it.
Perfect. All right. So then we're going north past 115. This looks like a little bit of a mountain section through here, little switchbacks and stuff.
Yeah, raced many times, getting to Cottontail, a lot of fun section there, but you got a lot of elevations, different changes, ups, downs, twist turns, till you reach out to the 125 and get across those big flats. Again, just letting it open up and breathe a little bit.
John, now, what do you think, Travis? What is your top speed that you've seen?
Well, it depends. Like 2 years ago at the Baja, Nevada, we were geared really tall, and so we hit 122. But I don't foresee us seeing that anymore. Kind of our sweet spot is like 113, 115 for a spec truck. I'm sure guys may go a little bit more, but we're really comfortable in that. I'd rather be way faster out of corners, but in this type of race, you want to be a little taller, you know?
Yeah. It seems like there's definitely a lot of fun top speed sections here. So something people can play with. Obviously the spec trucks, the gearing's open. It's not, it's not, and not everybody runs the same. So like you said, not everybody's going the same top speed. Connor in the trophy truck or unlimited truck as is here, which is another dumb thing. Everybody should be able to call the classes all the same freaking name. Just going to say that right now. What top speeds are you seeing out there, Connor?
So haven't had much experience going out racing in the trick trucks yet, but my guess on some of those long straightaways like that, I'm going to easily say anywhere from 130 to 140 being max, but I'm going to say from anywhere around those ranges, it's, like I said, corner to corner, you'd probably easily get up to 110, 115. But like I said, those top straights, those long straightaways, man, I think you'll get 140 pretty easy, 135.
Yeah, that's pretty fast. And even Sarah, you said you were doing 105 in yours last time?
Yeah, at the Mint 400, but this race is a little different with the elevation changes, and with the Pro R being an NA motor, the elevation really affects us. So all those up downs, we just never know.
Yeah, that's something that comes in play here more so. A lot of people forget about the elevation necessarily. When you're in Baja, most of the time it's not too bad. In Nevada, it's obviously not, but Southern Nevada, no, here there is elevation, so that adds a whole new aspect to it. So maybe the turbos have a little bit of an advantage on this type course.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, so then pit 4 is up here, right off the 95, and then you start going back down south for a minute. What's this mountain range here, Donald?
So real quick on pit 4, that's the famous Cottontail. And I want racers to note this because we've always looked for the building. The last couple of weeks, it burned down mysteriously. Don't know what happened, but the building is gone at Cottontail. So if that's your note, look for the building that's on the left. Don't use that as your note. Follow the chase books because it's no longer there.
All right, perfect. So good to know for pit 4. Then what is this when we coming over here? How does this looks like it's kind of tight and technical? How does that actually what does it look like in real life?
It is. It's a really rocky sand wash getting up to that peak. This is where you got to mind your P's and Q's and not run it wide in those corners like Travis was talking about. And once you come up over the top and you get to 140, it opens up again. Probably get silty towards the back of the pack, but the front runner should have a good route through there all the way up through like 150 where we go over this little mountain range. Again, just a lot of fun through there. And then it gets twisty again all the way up through 155 over Montezuma. Beautiful mountain range. I'm always amazed that we get to go over the top of that and get down to pit 5 there at Alkali.
Yeah, now that pit looks like it's a little bit harder to get to, huh? That one's not right off the highway.
Yeah, it's about 8 miles in down a paved road. It's still paved road to it, but that's what I'm talking about. The chase crews are going to have to start splitting at this point. They're not going to be able to get from 5 to 6 or 6 to 7. So somebody will have to go from 5 to 7, and somebody's going to jump up to 6.
Yeah, you can see pit 5's right here. Then 6 is actually just up here. So there's no way you'd be able to go from there to there, like you said. So you got to have 2 different crews for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So then you come up and you do a little circle up here at the top. What's this whole little circle like?
Yeah, just picking up some routes over the mountains there, getting close to Tonopah and where people can get some fuel for the chase trucks if they need to or whatnot. And then we drop back down to the south to get back down by Goldfield and whatnot. A lot of fun stuff up there, really fast flowing. Catch the lake bed twice there. And then into the Alkali Hot Springs there at 215, kind of a neat natural hot springs there. And work our way around Goldfield. Through the gym field area and around the mountains there. A lot of fun, fast roads. A little bit of technical in there, but it should allow the vehicles to pick up some speed as they work their way back south.
All right. Yeah. So basically you're going north and then you're coming back. So if you did have 2 different crew, have one crew just stay north and have the other one just stay south, basically, huh?
Yeah, basically you could take that crew if you're both together at pit 4. One can take the option to go up to pit 6. The other one take the option to go to pit 5. And then the one at 5 jumps over to 7.
Okay, that makes sense. So then right here, does this go under the highway or how does this go?
That goes underneath the highway. So there's a 7-foot tall underpass there. And as you come out, it's kind of rocky on the other side. Lots of cool shots have come out of that underpass, and should be a good time, another good photo spot.
All right. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of those guys will be there. All right, so then we go down here to the bottom. You make a hard, almost a 180. Is there a VCP down here in the corner?
Yeah, there is, and that wash is deep enough you can't really jump out of it.
Okay.
So at that point, that hard left, you jump onto an old railroad grade, and you start following that towards Goldfield again.
All right, perfect. So don't try and just come across here. You got to go down to the bottom.
Yeah, you can. It looks flat, but there's too many mountains and crosswashes to get across.
Okay, perfect. All right, so then we're coming north. We get up to 245. Then we get to the just the outside of Goldfield here on the other side of the highway. A little bit more technical through here, it looks like.
Yep, back into the mountain passes, switchbacks, ups and downs, going over the mining areas around Goldfield, and just trying to get through that district area all the way up to the pit 7.
All right, so then coming north, we're at 255. Pit 7, you're right off the highway again, so that looks like pretty accessible, easy to get to pit there.
Yep, about a mile in on the dirt road.
Perfect. Then we keep coming north. We're at 260 up to the top. Do a little turnaround again, and then we're going south again.
Yep, a lot of fast stuff. Working our way back to the south here to this little junction here at 270, and then it gets rocky. This is where the race will probably be won and lost on day 1. Is this section from 270 all the way to about 275. It's just a lot of cobbly rocks. Over the years, we've graded it and got a lot of them out of the way. But again, it's a rocky mountain, so they're going to be there no matter what.
Perfect. We had a question. Do you think there's going to be any construction on the highway this year?
So far, we've not heard of any constructions from any of the DOT crews. They all have it either starting before us and ending, or starting after the event.
Perfect. Okay. Well, that's good for the chase crews to hear then. So 275, and then we're going over towards another lake bed over here.
Yeah, that's called Mud Lake, right on the edge of the Nevada test site boundary. We just catch the very edge of it and cruise across there in a super fast road, leaving the lake bed all the way up to about 285 into 290, where we turn to go back to Tonopah, a fun sand wash. Really good wash there at the end to finish out the day, coming into the finish there at 294.
All right. So 294 is your first day mileage. Any idea from you racers what you guys are expecting for average mile an hour or speeds on this? Anybody have a guess?
It's going to be be all over the map between all the tight technical and the high speed roads. It's going to vary from in those tight sections, probably 20, 25 mile an hour to, like I said, 115, 120 mile an hour. There's so many different vary from high speed to slow speed. It's kind of going to be all over the map.
Yeah. Do you think most people will be finishing before dark, Donald? They should be, right? You would think? Oh, you're on mute, Donald.
Sorry about that, a cough. I expect 90% of the racers to be in before dark. And we had the finish line closing at 11 p.m. Gets dark about 8 p.m. So about 3 hours that people can still come in. But again, 90% of everybody will be in before it gets dark.
Perfect. Okay. And then I did see some questions on camping and hotels and stuff. If the hotels are full in Tonopah, which I'm sure they are by now, I think I've seen that. What do people have for options? Can they bring their trailers, camp somewhere? What do you suggest, Donald?
Yeah, if you want to zoom in a little bit where the Beans and Brews Coffee House is. Yeah, right about that's good. And then to the right, scroll to your right, just there you go. So where the fields are, that's where the offload, onload is. If you're staying in a hotel and you're taking your vehicle back, you're going to unload and offload here at the fields. Just to the right, there's a camping area at the stargazing area, that little plateau right there. So if you got your RVs, this whole area will be opened up that you can camp in. And then back by the highway there to your left, right there in front of the high school, across from the Beans and Brews. Yep, right there. That's another camping area that we've got set up. So again, if the hotels are full, this is an option. Another option is, I know it's a 2-hour drive from the finish, but Hawthorne still has rooms. The advantage of going to Hawthorne is for day 2, one of your remote pits that you have to send a chase truck to is only about 30 miles away from there. So if you stay in Tonopah, somebody's got to drive an hour and a half. If you stay in Hawthorne, somebody has to drive an hour and a half no matter what. But it's just a kind of a flip of the coin, but there's still rooms available in Hawthorne. And I did hear about Round Mountain, which is to the east and then north, that has rooms too. So there's still some options that aren't too far away if you're still looking for that.
Perfect. Okay. And then is there any tickets or fees for camping at either of these sites or anything anybody has to do?
Nope. That's something we're going to provide for you. So there's no fee. We just ask, please do not drain your gray or black water. We'll have dumpsters and stuff like that, but make sure you go to a approved dumping facility to do that. Don't dump it out in the desert.
Perfect. All right. So then let me turn on the start of day 2. So then, like you said, everybody can work on their cars. They can get all of get it fixed, get it ready to go, and then they will start day 2. What time does day 2 start? It's the same time?
A little bit different. Day 2, the bikes, quads will still start at 5:30 in the morning. Car, truck, UTVs will start at 9:30. And the way day 2 works is the top 40. How you finished on corrected time on day 1, top 40 will start in that order out. So like Sierra said, if she gets that Pro R up to in the top 20, she'll be starting top 20 on day 2.
Perfect. Okay. I think that's pretty cool. So wherever you are on time at the end of day 1 is where you're going to start on day 2, no matter what class you're in.
Correct. And the reason we went with the top 40 and not the whole entire field, let's say somebody that's a top runner has an issue on day 1. We don't bury them behind like a stock class 11 and they're trying to push their way to the front. So we felt like a 40 was a good number to give those guys that have worked their way up to that point a good starting position, but somebody that might have had a problem that's unlimited truck class 1, 6,100, something in that range, doesn't get buried at 90th in the field.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that. What do you guys think? You guys like starting like that?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and it gives someone a good opportunity to get up. You know, say we had an issue. Donald gives us the opportunity with the 2-day event to fix our stuff and come back for the next day. Well, it's nice to know that I don't have to start 80th and I can kind of be up with the spec trucks if we have an issue. So, and it's a lot safer. I mean, you're looking at safety at this point.
Yeah. How is day 2 course? We're going to look at it now compared to day 1. Is it about the same? Is it faster, slower? What do you think, Donald?
I would predict day 2 to be a touch faster than day 1. It seems like we get some more roads in there, but it still has plenty of technical to it, but it's going to be a little bit quicker speed. I think day 1, nobody would call it out. I think your average truck is going to be 62, 63. And on day 2, I think it'll be up to like 65, 66.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start looking at day 2. And I noticed right away that the day 2 start is right across the street from the day 2 finish. So you're not going very far at the end.
No, we're just going to do one little quick jaunt across the highway and call it the end. That's all.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. So you start day 2 here, you come out of town and then you start going back south again.
Yep.
So this is all pretty fast out of town.
It's the first 3 miles and then it gets into some technical hills here. So it slows the pace down a little bit for about 8 miles until you work your way back over here to the Mud Lake Road. and you kind of have an overlap on day 1 and day 2 for a small section here, about 3 miles.
Oh yeah, we can see that right here where it goes back on the same area.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just a small little overlap. There's only a few ways in and out of town. So unfortunately that comes about sometimes. And then it kind of breaks away and comes to your first paved road crossing about 30 miles into the day. Again, mandatory stop. The bikes and quads will go underneath this highway. There's an underpass for them. So they'll be able to go underneath. The car, truck, UTVs will have to stop.
Okay. All right. And then you come up north. It looks like you go up on the side of Booker Mountain. It's called here.
Yeah, Booker Mountain, we call it Radar Hill, same type of thing.
Perfect. So are you actually going up the mountain or are you staying down on the bottom of it here?
No, we go just along the base of it. It's a lava rock mountain, so we're just along the base there.
All right. Yeah, a little back and forth. And then I come up and now you're going east again over to mile 320. So this is this looks pretty fast. So a little technical.
Yeah, a little technical through the hills, but once you get to 320, you jump into a big wash and follow that all the way down to the Gabbs Pole Line Road. A lot of fun through here. A couple old cars, people probably remember those. And when you cross the 89 right there, it's the Gabbs Pole Line Road. Racers have right away. We'll be stopping traffic, so you guys can go right over the top of that. And then it gets fast from here all the way over to Pit 8 there at Miller's.
Oh yeah, that looks super fast. So Pit 8 just off of the 95, once again, just north of it. So easy access there for everybody.
Yep. And basically day 2, this is where I'm talking about. You're going to have 2 crews. You won't be able to beat the race vehicle from 8 to 9. You won't be able to beat it from 9 to 10. So you're going to have the 2 crews right off the bat, just splitting up and dividing and conquering.
Okay. So 8 would go to 10 basically.
Yeah, I would say 8 goes to 10. The vehicle from the start goes to 9.
Okay, perfect. So then you come up here past mile 340, make a hard left, and then you start heading over towards, looks like you're heading towards the mountains and up into them.
Yeah, so this is a section we ran last year. Baja, Nevada hadn't been run in 18 years. So last year we ran it the opposite direction. This year we're going to go to the north where we came south last year.
Perfect. Do you guys remember running this section last year? Anybody like this section? Didn't like it? What'd you guys think? Let's hear it.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's a part in this course that I don't like. Everything's just, it's laid out right. It's marked right. It's fun. You know, you've got your mix of technical, you know, everything about it that Donald and those guys do. It's always fun.
Right on. It'll be, what do you think is going to be? Last year you were in a spec truck. You said this year you're racing the unlimited truck. Connor, what do you think is going to be the difference? Have you driven the unlimited truck before?
So I have just testing, but not in a race scenario. But you know, I think it's just kind of going out and getting used to it, not trying to go out and set the world on fire. You know, it's just not my goal. You know, I want to get used to it. I want to be smart, you know, but I want to be there at the end. So if we can just be smart, have no issues and have no flats or nothing like that, I think we're going to be right there.
Perfect. And then you're driving both days, right? Everything?
Yeah.
What about you, Sierra? Are you driving both days?
I'll be driving start to finish. Yep, both days.
Perfect. And Travis, you too?
Yeah, yep. Start to finish.
Right on. Well, it sounds like a lot of people are doing that. All right. So then we're going back to the north and about 355. What do we have? This looks a little bit technical and a little tight through here.
Yeah, it goes back to some old 2 tracks through the mountains. So kind of get that vintage style off-road racing where it's not just a big bladed road. It's a narrower road, got the brush down the middle. A lot of fun through the mountains there. Good chance of seeing some wildlife. We saw some horses and a few antelope through this section.
Perfect. Yeah. So you watch out for the animals, watch out for cows. We've seen some videos with cows versus off-road cars before. It doesn't turn out well for either of them most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily this area doesn't have a lot of cattle in it. It's just mainly the wildlife. So that's kind of a good for us as racers.
Yeah. All right. So then you drop down and then I assume this is pretty fast through here around 365. It looks pretty straight.
It is pretty straight, but again, it's a 2-track road. So it's not real wide. And it has a few turns in and out of it, a little bit of crosswash just because of the rainwater, you know, going down to the bottom there, you can see nothing super dangerous, but it is a little bit slower section than most of your fast roads.
All right. And then this is still, did you run this section last year also?
Yep. Still on the section backwards. And about 375, they've had a lot of water come come down that section and where we cross it there about 377. One big crosswash there, but this upper part of Nevada has had a lot more moisture than the southern part.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell just by looking at this map, all the rain ruts and ravines and everything, just where the water runs down here. So that definitely takes a toll on the course. So just keep in mind, and all you guys know, if you had something marked last year, that doesn't mean that it's going to be the same this year after all the water's come through.
Yeah, exactly. And we just got back from doing the GPS trip this last weekend and putting all the dangers in. So it's pretty accurate.
Perfect. And so there's no pre-running allowed on this course, but you guys do put out a GPS file with dangers and stuff for people, correct?
Correct. That'll come out the Monday before the race, GPS file, KML file, the danger sheet, and all the updated notes. That'll be the latest, greatest type deal.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So then we get back over here, 380, 385, still going east. And then we have at pit 9. This is one of the ones where you got to have a separate crew for this pit because the distance away. You basically do a 180 at pit 9 and you start going back.
Yep. Start going back up to the mountains of Dunlop Mountain there. Climbs all the way up to 8,000 feet. So it goes up quite a distance there. And we did track through a little bit of snow in this section up here about 403. Just trying to get up over the top. It was about a 2 foot deep section for little spurts. So good news is it's a lot of moisture. It's melting pretty quick. So there won't be any snow by the time the racers get here. But it's going to definitely add to helping with the dust control through this section.
Yeah, it sounds like definitely dust probably most likely won't be an issue, at least for most of the cars going through here if it's been that wet up there lately.
Yeah, you get into your top 10, top 20s, they start bringing that moisture up out of the dirt, and it makes it nice for everybody behind them.
Yeah, definitely fun racing when there's not much dust. So is this the highest elevation part of the course? You said it's at 8,000 feet?
Yeah, that's the highest point we go to.
Okay. And then you drop back down right here?
Yep. Let's still go through the hills, but start losing elevation, drop 2,000, 3,000 feet by the time you get to the lake bed.
And that's over here at 415 where you get back on the lake bed?
Yep, go through an old mining camp there, and then we cross the lake bed and start working our way back to the south to the ghost town of Gilbert, which is a pretty cool mining site. That's about the 430 mark is where Gilbert is.
Right in here?
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of still the wood head frames from the mining back in the day, and pretty cool area to go explore. If you're not out there on race weekend, you want to go do something with the family, come check out the Gilbert area. It's pretty awesome.
Probably good bird watching out there.
Great bird watching.
Yeah. All right. So then we start keep going south more and Titan Technical out of there. It looks like this is
really technical up on the ridges and dropping down the washes. Again, great area to get a flat tire. So you got to mind your P's and Q's through this section all the way down to the pit down here at the highway at pit 10.
All right. So most likely, if you're going to be using a tire, it might be in this section, would be somewhere.
For sure. Definitely have crews at 10 with tires. Going to the Devil's Gate there is pretty tight and technical.
So then down at the bottom here, pit 10, once again, right on the side of 95, right past 445, easy to get to pit once again.
Yep. Real easy.
Then you come back to the north, a little back and forth through here. And then you start going back up the mountain a little bit, it looks like.
Yeah, just cuts back to the mountains there. A lot of fun sand washes through this area. Cool switchback roads, and just starts to pick up the pace as you start to lead the mountains up there around 460, and then headed straight for the highway 95 from 465 to about 467 or so. Perfect. And then starts to get cross grain and rocky going into pit 11. So another place you better have tires at pit 11 because it's pretty rocky coming into it.
I didn't notice so far. Do you know what the longest mileage between pits is?
So on day one, and we're still working on it for those that are going to ask, there's a 63-mile section. And then on day two, the longest was from pit 8 to pit 9 is 56 miles. Okay. So for day one, we're trying to figure out, we're going to get it figured out where we're going to have a gas available for those stock UTVs and bikes and quads that can't quite make that mileage. On the day two section at 56 miles, we ran it last year. No bikes or quads ran out of fuel. We had stocks run the race. They didn't run out of fuel. So we're confident we don't have to provide that for day two.
Yeah. Sierra, what kind of mileage are you getting on your Pro R?
It just depends, but this race, I'd probably say around 6 miles per gallon.
Yeah. So if
Yeah.
somebody has a stock class one with a stock tank that's 12 gallons, so 6, you're kind of cutting it a little close at a 60 mile, I guess, huh? That's what some people are worried about. How big of a tank do you have, Sarah? You have like a 30 gallon or something?
32, yeah, 30 usable.
Cool. All right. So then you go over the highway here again. And
Yeah, you go. That's actually an underpass again. So
oh,
they
under,
don't have to stop
under
at
the
all.
pass. Okay.
Yeah.
So no stopping.
No stopping, exactly.
Perfect. And then you come back here, get on a couple, looks like obviously graded roads for a section here.
Yep, this is a fast section all the way over to the ghost town of Columbus. A lot of fun, and a lot of it's downhill, so you can really pick up some speed. Make that right turn at Columbus, headed over to 480. Again, just a lot of fun sections through these mountains here. And then this gets into the salt flats and wide open. Definitely see some high speeds with this section.
Yeah, it definitely looks fast. It doesn't, you don't see much terrain or anything on here. So, that means it's fast.
Yeah, it's flat, 40-foot wide road. It's a good time. Paved road crossing, mandatory stop, cross that. Then it's fast down this road to the little bit twisty through here. Down to like would that be about 497? We make a hard left.
Yeah, like right in here.
Keep going.
Keep going
A little bit further down. It's called the crossing, but we make that hard left and then start back up through the Immigrant Pass. A really cool mountain section again. A lot of fun. Pretty big wide road. And then we start dropping back down towards Coaldale and work our way over to Silver Peak.
All right. And why is it called Silver Peak?
They do a lot of lithium mining out in that area. So your batteries that are lithium ion, a lot of the minerals and stuff that makes those comes from Silver Peak.
Perfect. That makes sense. So then you get all the way back over to pit 12, which is off of a smaller highway, the 265, right?
Yeah, that's the Silver Peak Highway. It takes you to the little town over there. And right after the pit, you got a paved road crossing. And then down through a really fun sand wash. Again, let those vehicles breathe coming down this sand wash through here, all the way down to the hairpin turn there to the right.
Yeah, that looks like a fun little section through there.
Oh, it's a blast. It's a good sand wash, not a lot of rock to it. This section here is cross grain up and over the hills. Pretty good flow to it, but again, it's got some cross grain and then a big road here at 535 all the way up to the Weepaws, which is 542-ish. Start through the Weepaw Mountains here. Again, a good road, but it gets a little technical and twisty, as you can see. And then we drop back down out of the Weepaw Mountains and head back towards the 95. Get down to the Salt Flat and then turn and go right back up to the Weepaw. So a little loop to the mountains there.
Yeah, so you're definitely getting a lot of mileage out of the area that you're in without like going over itself too much. So that's good.
Correct. And it makes it good for chasing. One thing to bring up is there's no fuel on day 2 for the chase cruise. So once you leave Tonopah, there is nowhere to get fuel until you get back to Tonopah unless you bounce up to Hawthorne. So one reason we want to keep everything a little bit closer so nobody was running out of fuel in their chase vehicles as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. So get fuel before you leave in the morning. And honestly, I wonder how much fuel those gas stations are going to have for everybody. Are they going to run out?
Yeah, don't wait till the last minute. Don't procrastinate.
Yeah. Don't try to get fuel right before the start of day 2, or you might not be racing day 2.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So then 565, we're coming back up here. Then we make another hard right at 570, go right along the base of the mountains, it looks like.
Yep. Rocky Power Line. Another spot to mind your P's and Q's. Those tires will be abused through this section. And coming into the pit 13, which is the opposite side of Miller's. A lot of fun sand dunes right there where that little U is.
I was going to say, what's this for? How come it doesn't go straight?
So there's not a straight through road. It's a power line. And because of the blow sand, they've built the road around.
Okay.
So definitely not a spot you want to try and shortcut because you'll be stuck.
Okay. Even in a 4-wheel drive?
Even a 4-wheel drive. Yeah. It just goes away from you. It's almost like a quicksand.
Oh, okay. All right. So then coming back up here towards pit 13, you said that's
yeah, pit 13. Pit? Yep. They're pretty cool. They're both right across the highway from each other. Really easy to get into.
Yeah. 8 and 13.
Yep.
Perfect.
Then a power line road out of 13 until about that spot where your hand is. And we jump into a wash, a fun wash all the way up, coming back towards Tonopah. jump on some ridges and twist around. Again, picking up stuff that hasn't been used since 2005, right there at 295 to where it, right through that section there at 595 is a lot of fun, to where it jumps onto the day one course and goes backwards. So we go backwards for about 10 miles there.
Oh, I see. It actually goes back around it.
Yeah. So the green's overlaid on the black headed towards the 190. So you see where 600 is?
Let me turn the other one off.
You probably, if you turn your points off, your waypoints will probably help you out on day one. There you go.
Perfect. All right. So then we go on this way. You're making a hard right, you said here.
Yep. Again, a fun power line road back to a fast, big road, and then cut across and join an awesome wash, one of the best washes around Tonopah, and coming back into that for the finish.
Awesome. All right. And then, you finish right back where you started, just across the street.
Yep, exactly. It makes it pretty easy logistically.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So what is the total overall mileage to the end?
It comes out to 611 grand total.
611. All right. Well, perfect. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So it really is divided up pretty well between the 2 days too. So if you do have two different drivers, you can have one drive one day, the other one drive the other day. Everybody gets about the same mileage. So it's not too far off, but a little bit.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's not too lopsided, and it should make it for a fun day, both days for racing.
Awesome. All right. Well, what are you guys? Are you guys racing the whole series? Connor, are you doing the whole series this year? What do you got going on?
Yeah, so as we got planned, we're kind of jumping back from spec truck to trick truck. So out of kind of what we're seeing, obviously Kyle Jurgensen's in the points for 6,100. So I think what they're going to want me to do is race the trick truck for Legacy. But as far as I know, we're going to race with them no matter what all year long.
Awesome. What about you, Travis?
Yeah, no, we're definitely sticking with Legacy. My son's actually racing his Pro NA car. And we actually got a double win at the first race. So that was pretty dang fun for a dad, So him and I are going to be running the whole series. I am actually going to pop down to Baja and team up with a Legacy racer, Travis Williams, for the 500 and the 1,000. But my team is committed to Legacy, and we love what Donald does, and he does a great job of listening to the racers, and we want to support him as much as we can. And I hope others do too. I mean, looking at this course, you see everything. You got the high speeds, you got the technical, the rocky, the fun stuff. It's everything encompassed all in one, and a lot of his races are very, very much the same.
Yeah. What about you, Sierra? Are you going to do the whole series this year?
No, not this year. We're not chasing any points this year. We're just kind of bouncing back and forth between all the big races. And that's kind of what seems like sponsors want this year. But I know Donald and all those guys put on some really good races. So we hit Pahrump in the beginning and then now Baja Nevada. So who knows? We might end up hitting the whole series.
Right on. Yeah, I think I've only heard lots of good things about it. And this race looks like a lot of fun. You got a little bit of everything. It's good for all the different kinds of classes. I don't think it really caters to just one specific class, right, Donald? It kind of mixes it up with everybody.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun for the unlimited classes because they get to open up those vehicles and let them kind of run. But then in like a side-by-side, you got some technical stuff that they definitely excel in and makes it a lot of fun for them. And on the bikes and quads too, that technical stuff, being the first ones on the road, those old 2-track roads, you can't hardly beat that. So I think across the board, the course itself is going to be a lot of fun for every participant. I don't think you can have a single person say, I think I've done a better route or that thing sucked. I don't really predict that.
Yeah. And something else that's really cool this race, what is everybody getting that's the drivers getting?
Oh, yeah. So I got that right here. I'm glad you brought that up. So here's this hostel bag. Hopefully you can see it here. So This is for all the participants that sign up. You get 2 per team. If you're an Ironman, you get 1. Partner with Hostile on this bag to create it for just specifically Baja Nevada. It's got a nice little open top here. Put a laptop in it. Got some carriers on the side here for water bottles or CCW, if you know what one of those is. Like 5 different compartments. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool bag. So pretty awesome that Hostile put this together, put some cool Legacy swag on it. Got their logo back here with the American flag and stuff. So thank you, Dan at Hostile, for putting this together. Make sure you sign up to get your bag. If you want to order extra for your team, those are available. So there's a link on our website to go to Hostile Racing to get those bags.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's cool that
race with Legacy Racing Association because Donald and all those guys are so killer with being there for the racers, being there for everybody. And, that he just thinks outside of the box. He's super thoughtful. So thank you, Donald, for all that you do. We all of us racers really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's definitely cool to see stuff like that, just something a little extra here or there, just so the racers know that, they're appreciated and it makes them feel good. And it's a cool bag, like a lot of people are going to use that bag. I know that in the past, others have given away different things, and I still see some of that stuff nowadays. That was 10, 15 years ago. So that stuff is, it's pretty cool. So I think good job on that, Donald. And anything else you want to touch on about the race here?
Well, I appreciate the kind words. I'm not going to say it's just me. It takes a huge team. So to all the Legacy staff, Liz, Christie, and all of our staff that involved, the volunteers, we're going to have 450 people out here making this event possible. It's not possible without them. So those are the true, heartbeat to the Legacy series. And we can do all the fun things, but without the volunteers and the staff, it's not going to come together. So a huge thank you to them for making this possible. Fishgistics for your time, putting this together, for all of our racers, Sierra, Travis, and for Connor for being here. We love you guys. Thank you guys for the support. And a reminder too, you can still go for the championship if you didn't race the first race because of other issues or whatnot. We're still going to let you run for a championship for the rest of the season. So don't let that hold you back. Come get signed up and run the next few races with us, and hopefully you can get a championship out of it.
Awesome. Well, there you go. Yeah, I know I'm going to try and do a little bit more coverage of this race too. So you guys that are on the show and anyone else that's watching, send me updates, send me pictures, videos, so I can post during this race like I do some of the other ones. Hopefully we can do some coverage. We're going to have, I think Robert Campbell's going to be out there helping you, Donald. So he's going to probably go live for us at a couple different spots. And we'll try to get some coverage of the race going too.
Yeah, he'll be running a mountaintop relay for us on day one. So the only live coverage you get from him is him on the mic, talking, or what he can see up there in the clouds. But appreciate him and Keith Permel for running the mountaintops for us. And day two, we'll have just Keith up on one mountain, and maybe we'll get some stuff from Robert on day two that way.
Perfect. All right. Well, any of you guys have anything else to add, or are you guys ready to go racing?
I'm ready to go racing. Let's get this thing going.
All right. Are you all ready, Sarah?
I'm ready. And like Connor said, huge thank you to all the guys and girls at Legacy who made this possible. I mean, we couldn't do it without them. So super excited to go racing.
Awesome. All right. And Connor, good luck in the unlimited truck. Hopefully you have a good run. It should be fun, huh?
Yes. Yeah. We're super excited to get our feet wet in something new and run with Brenthal again. We're just super excited. It's been about at least a month or so of not racing, not doing a whole lot for me. But it's been good here. We've got a lot of work stuff cut up here. A lot of customers have been happy for us. So other than that, we're ready to get back racing, and we're ready to get back for sure with Legacy and go race with those guys. We're super, super excited.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks again to all of you guys for coming. Thanks to Donald for joining us and giving us a preview of this race. It looks like it's going to be pretty awesome. I kind of wish I was out there racing it. Maybe next year I'll come up there and do this race.
I would love to have you, Fish.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today, and we'll stay tuned for during the race. We'll try to bring you guys some coverage, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.